All right, so let's start with the big story that we are tracking on WION this hour. The new partition of Syria has opened the Pandora's box. As the rebels and foreign powers fight for control over Syria, the fall of the Assad regime has triggered a race to find the missing chemical weapons. Now, the Organization for the Prohibition of Chemical Weapons, the International Chemical Weapons Watchdog, which convened an emergency meeting, has said that the agency is prepared to send its teams to Syria. And our next report tells you as to how stability and unity continue to remain the biggest challenge for Syria at the moment.
Syria stands at a pivotal crossroads after the dramatic fall of Bashar al-Assad. The rebel groups and foreign powers are vying for control and influence. Apart from the dominant Hayat Tahrir al-Sham or HTS in northwest Syria, there are Turkish-backed rebels and Sunni Muslim rebels in the north, Kurds ruling over much of Syria's east, and Jordan-backed rebels in the south. These groups fought a civil war against Assad for almost 14 years, and now they contend to shape the country's future without him. As the political chaos unfolds in Syria, Israel appears to be taking advantage of what it sees as a unique moment of opportunity. From raining strikes on strategic Syrian military assets and air defenses, to ordering its troops to remain the demilitarized buffer zone on the Golan Heights throughout the winter, Israel is leaving no stone unturned to stop Syria falling into the hands of rebels. It has blamed Iran for triggering regional tensions. Control over the Syrian oil fields is adding another layer of complexity to the ever-evolving Syria. HTS claims control over the eastern city of Deir ez-Zor after a fierce battle with Syrian Kurds backed by the US forces. The eastern region is the biggest source of crude oil. The conflict between Kurdish-led SDF and HTS rebels is centered around the control of Al-Taim oil fields in Deir ez-Zor region, where 5,000 barrels of crude oil are extracted daily. The collapse of Assad regime has triggered the race to find missing chemical weapons. The Assad government reportedly made tons of chemical weapons, from giant vats of World War I era mustard gas to nerve agents so deadly that just a few drops could kill. But the Syrian weapons of mass destruction have simply disappeared. What happened to those chemicals is a suddenly urgent question in the wake of last week's takeover by Syrian rebels. In a country with no governing authority, securing whatever chemicals remain becomes a top priority not only for Syria's neighbors but also for countries around the world. Syria faces a major task of uniting diverse factions and forming a stable government. Can Syrian rebels put up a united front remains a big question. Bureau Report, WION World is One.
All right, now to give us more perspective in terms of what is happening at this moment in Syria, we are joined in this broadcast by Mr. Shakir Mustafa, who is a professor at the Northeastern University in the United States of America and is joining us live on this broadcast. Professor Mustafa, thank you very much indeed, sir, for taking time out and speaking to us here in WION. And let me ask you this, Mohammed al-Bashir, the interim Prime Minister, in his sermon during the Friday prayer said that this moment marks the birth of a new Syria. Are you as optimistic as al-Bashir is about the future of Syria, considering the challenges that confront the nation?
I think I would like to be optimistic. The problem is that the track record for the Syrian opposition has been mixed. But now the dominant force was once affiliated with al-Qaeda, and they do not actually deny their extremist Islamic bent. So that will absolutely remain as a cause of concern. We will have, like the rest of the world, we will have to wait and see if Hayat Tahrir al-Sham has actually changed and they are ready to work with other factions.
Right. Now, there is, it's interesting that you've spoken about Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. This is an organization that was linked with the al-Qaeda. Now, Bashar al-Assad, for all of his faults, ran a government that was said to be staunchly secular, including everyone, the Christians, the Druze, the Sunnis and the Shias and everyone. Do you think this new dispensation that has now claimed power in Syria can take all communities along?
I'm a little skeptical. If you remember, the Taliban in Afghanistan also said that they will be open to other factions, open to work with them together, unifying Afghanistan. But only a few months after they got to power, they started asserting their fundamentalist ideology.
Right. Now
we hope that the Syrians have learned the lesson and they are a little different.
All right. Will be interesting to see as to things unfold. My final question to you, Professor, is this. Now, the chemical weapons watchdog has said that it is prepared to send teams into Syria to retrieve any chemical weapons that the Bashar al-Assad government may have had in Syria. In your assessment, do you think there were chemical weapons in Syria at the moment? And why is it that it's been a week since Bashar al-Assad has been ousted, we still haven't seen any of his chemical weapons?
The Syrian, the Bashar government was very secretive about its mass destruction weapons. Maybe they have, maybe they don't. Maybe they were just using it as a way of scaring their enemies inside and outside Syria. This is an issue that needs international supervision.
Right.
Specialist organization. They know how to look for such weapons of mass destruction and locate them. We hope that the current government in Syria would cooperate with international organizations to locate and get rid of these destructive weapons.
All right, we'll have to leave it there. Thank you very much indeed, Professor Mustafa, for joining us and getting us that perspective there.
Thank you.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.